So, according to my marriage license, my name is a Brandon, that's the way it's typed. With the date of April 30th, 2004, it says a Brandon. And according to the family court of Jefferson County, they say I am the father of a family, is what they say, the way they explained it to me, that I am the father of a family. And, according to the Bible, I don't believe in calling myself a father, of course, because I'm not God. I'm not a king, you know. So, I was always called dad, But I'm supposed to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, of course. So, there's links in the description, of information and videos of the phone calls of me, you know, calling and trying to, speak, you know, with the children because I would not want to look like a deadbeat dad, of course. And, I am 38 years old today. So since I am 38 years old today, and since I am not a deadbeat dad, of course, because, if someone did not, allow me to speak to the children on the telephone, it's always seemed to be a problem with those families in the phone or something. Because ever since I went to 2715 Avenue E, Ensley, it was the address that, they said my wife, grew up or was at that house, 2715 Avenue E, Ensley, Birmingham, Alabama. And that, they were a crime family because, one of the guys, Jeremy Lewis Williams, was convicted of being a murderer. And, I didn't want to look like a deadbeat dad. So, when they said that he had 6 children, with some girl named Kiki, and he had a baby named JJ, Jeremy Jr., way before I even, came to 2715 Avenue E, Hensley. I never understood why they would brag on somebody like having children and making a girl a single mom. And there would be a lot of child support letters, at their house, the house that they said was their mom or their family's house. So, he wouldn't take care of his kids or his firstborn, I heard, I don't know why people would be mean to their firstborn son, especially, a junior. He's named after, the dad is what they say, Like, it's crazy, I didn't really understand, I just know that I did not want to be like him, of course, because, and like, when I was there, they said it was another child named Jemiah. And, they said her mom was named Aisha Hawthorne, and she was the same age as me. And since I was 16 years old, I didn't understand why, she was a single mother at the time. Aisha Hawthorne, that's what they said her name was, Someone said her name was Aisha Purifoy or Purfie. I'm not really sure how the spells work, so I wouldn't want to say it the wrong way, But they say she was 16 years old, the same age I was when I went to 2715 Avenue E, and then she already had a baby, and they had a different religion where they believe in having sex and children born before marriage, They did not have a marriage license the way that I have a marriage license with a date of April 30th, 2004 as evidence of a marriage, I don't know what anyone else has used my name or my identity or my marriage license or social security number or finances or checks or accounts. I don't know what kind of crimes they did, but I was told it's not my fault what other people did, the crimes that they did, because I did not tell them to do any of it. And then I did not make any bad karma. And when it was a situation already going on at 2715 Avenue E. Hensley when I went there, that their family would have to explain what it was that they were doing. Because since I was abused and molested and was the youngest person in the family, that they said was the family of 2501 20th Street, the address at the time, of those family court dates in Jefferson County when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, and, they had me, in the custody of child services because they considered me a child, and that's why I was in child services. So they said it was kind of like child abuse that they did to me because I did not have any victims of violent crimes or any reports, and since the other people, at 2715 Avenue E. Hensley, being married, because it was the address, at the time of April 30th, 2004, those dates and all of that, it was around about that time that, the address was 2715 Avenue E. Hensley, Birmingham, Alabama. And there were reports of those people being criminals and having a criminal background. There was a guy that they said, was Alfred Lee Williams, it was some name like that. And, it said something about robbery or some kind of sex offenses. And that, they would just say that if you lived with them for 2 years, common law, you're married. Or if you was 2 years old, they didn't care what age you were. They said it was called being a sex offender because, if you tell a 2-year-old child that you've been living with them for 2 years, time to have sex, you're their wife now, or you're their husband now. Yeah, I was told that that's called child abuse. And the answer is no. And that their family would have to explain. Because if they said they didn't want their dad to die, they didn't want their mom to die, or they didn't want their sister to die, and they didn't want their brother to die, well, if you can love a person that had sex and kids, children, before they got married, then you should love me, a person that did not have sex and kids, sex and children, making a child born before April 30th, 2004, the date on the marriage license as evidence, and that I was under the influence that I am married. That's, the information, the influence that I am under the influence of being married with a marriage license and a date of April 30th, 2004. So, when you look at the birth certificates of the people in those families, when they do not have a marriage license with a date before the birth certificates of the children being born, is the way it was explained to me, it seems like they did something a different way than I do, And when they said they love their family and they love those people, a person that said if you stayed with them for 2 years, you have to have sex with them and be their husband or wife. Well, if you can love them, you should love me. You should really love me, because since I don't force people to have sex with me, since I did not make people have sex with me, Since I did not tell a person that after 2 years, you're my wife or you're my husband, because I don't have a husband, of course, because, you know, it's against my religion for me to have a husband, you know, that way. So, you know, when I went there, you know, there were people, you know, some of the people said that Jeremy molested them. Some of the people said Aaron molested them. Some of the people said Rodriguez molested them. They said a guy named Desi Parker or something molested them or something. And, you know, they said he was related to this girl named Selena, and she was very mean to me. And, you know, I did not like it, and I did not like the way she treated me, you know. Somebody was named Selena or something. I don't really know her name, you know. But, because, you know, they would give children different names, you know. Like, they said when the Angel Renee girl had a baby named Janiyah, she named the baby Janiyah Lewis, you know. I don't know where she get that name from, you know. Those are those questions, you know, people would say that, like, I don't know where they get those names from. Because since she wasn't married, of course, and I don't know, it was some on the internet, they said she was calling herself Miss Robinson or Angel Renee Robinson or something, but I don't really know, you know. I did not want to be part of their church or their religion or their family, you know, practice or whatever they do, you know, having sex and making children before you are married. No, it's against my religion. So when Janiyah Lewis was born and they said Angel Renee Williams or Angel Renee Robinson, whoever they said the mom was, it was like, you know, the birth certificates and the marriage license would have to match. And if there was not a marriage license on the date that she was born, then, you know, if they called her their sister and said they loved her in her way of doing it, then you should really love me. Because since I did not make a person into a single mom, since I did not, you know, have children born before April 30th, 2004, the date on the marriage license, you know, I don't understand what the problem is of waiting until you are married to have a child. Because if you can love a person that did not wait until they were married to have a child, you know, the way Jeremy did, you know, the way that Angel Renee Williams or Angel Renee Robinson did, you know, the way that Patricia Williams did when Tori Jackson was born and when, you know, David Jr. or something like that. I don't know, you know, they would always talk about they would be obsessed with rings, like the rings of Saturn or some kind of pagan religion is what I was taught. Because, you know, at the family court or the courthouse or the justice of the peace, they said you don't need any rings to get married. All you have to do is be 18 years of age, you know, and make an individual decision that you want to marry her or that she wants to marry you, you know, those situations. Or that you want to marry him or that he wants to marry you, you know. One male, one female, one girl, one boy, you know. It's the way it was when I got married, you know. Because in the year of 2004, you know, it was like you have to be a husband, a male, you know, a boy, a man, whatever you call it, you know. And you would have to, you know, in order to be a wife, a person would have to be a female, you know, a lady, a woman, a girl, you know, whatever they identify themselves as, you know. That's the way it was, you know, in the year of 2004, you know, when I got a marriage license, you know. So, you know, they say people have the right to change their mind. So, you know, they say nowadays, you know, it's different, you know. A person can identify themselves as whatever they want to identify themselves as and get married to, anyone. So, since I don't work at the courthouse or at the police station or, the justice of the peace is what they call it. You know, and since I wasn't trying to have sex with any of them anyway, I don't really, understand, why any of them, would be mad at me. It's crazy, because the way it was explained to me, it was like, if a girl had sex with a guy and he's sick and she gets sick, if he was rich or famous or had a lot of money or a lot of businesses, just because she had sex with him and got sick, it doesn't make me sick because she had sex with him. It just makes her sick. It doesn't affect me at all. Or if a guy, had sex with a girl and she was sick, it doesn't matter if he was rich or famous or had a lot of cars with big rims or big tires and all of that. It just makes him sick. And it makes her sick. It doesn't make me sick at all. Because, since I'm not participating in a threesome and I did not want to have sex with them anyway, whoever they have sex with and whatever, types of situations happen because of the sex that they had with him or her, whoever he is or whoever she is, if they got a sexually transmitted disease or something was wrong with their child and he was sick or something, it's because she said he was sexy. Or it's because he said she was sexy. And they chose to participate in sexual activity with each other, Now it's different, when you expose your hyena or you tell on your abuser the way that I am. My situation is different, If there were twins and doppelgangers and, different people, it's like that Bible story about Rachel and Leah. If a family know that it was more than one person that looks the same, and they told one of the girls, okay, you go in and have sex with Jacob and get pregnant and he's going to have a baby with you. And then they told the other sister, okay, now you go in and have sex with Jacob and get pregnant and he's going to have a baby with you, Or, those situations that has been explained before, that if a girl was already pregnant and they said, okay, Leah, you go in and let Jacob water the seed, since you wanted to do what your dad and your family wanted to do so bad, to the point to where you were already pregnant by your own family members or something like that. And he'll just think it's his baby because he'll think that he got you pregnant. Those types of situations. And if it was the same situation with Rachel, because in order for Rachel and Leah to be playing that game with Jacob, that means Rachel knew what was going on and agreed to do sex stuff for her mom and her dad. It's like child prostitution. And then that means Leah knows what was going on because she agreed to take turns with Rachel for her mom and for her dad, It was not for Jacob, of course. Because since they did not tell Jacob, hey, Jacob, Rachel is going to pretend to be Leah and Leah is going to pretend to be Rachel, and they may already possibly be pregnant, and they're going to let you have sex with them, and they want you to pretend that you're the dad of both of their children and, for their family, not for you, Jacob. I was told that that was a bad story because, if that's how the story started, that means both of the sisters would have had to know what was going on. Because if Leah wasn't saying, Rachel is not me, she's doing it for the mom and the dad and trying to, make you claim her child is yours, Jacob. And if, Rachel didn't tell that Leah is not me. Leah is just trying to have sex with you, Jacob, for the mom and for the dad, and it's not for you, Jacob, and she's doing it for her family and she's just using you. Then it means, the way it was explained to me, that Rachel would be wrong for what she did, and Leah would be wrong for what she did. Because when it's about telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, when a person is your hyena, whether it was your mom or your dad telling you to have sex, and that's the way the Rachel and Leah story was explained. When they made Rachel look like Leah and made Leah look like Rachel, I don't know how they did it, but according to the Bible, they said they did something to make Jacob think Rachel was Leah or Leah was Rachel. They tried to make them look similar. And that the mom and the dad, both of them knowed that both of the girls were having sex with Jacob. According to the Bible, it said Jacob was not innocent. Jacob, J for short, Jay was not innocent. They said Jay was guilty. Jacob was guilty. Because since he knowed that it was Rachel and he knowed that it was Leah, when Laban told him that it was sisters and that if he worked for 7 years, he could have both of the girls and some extra handmaidens, extra girls to have sex with. It sounds like it was a story of sex trafficking and prostitution of girls. And a guy named Laban, their mom and their dad, was telling a dude named Jay or Jacob that, he can have sex with a bunch of different girls if he made an agreement with their mom and with their dad. I'm the type that would say, no, this is wrong what you guys have done, And since their mom, in the story was the one that told Leah how to have sex with Jacob, that hyena stuff. And there's a link in the description, and it says those exact types of practices that a female, a woman, a mom, was the one, that would teach girls how to be a wife or how to pretend to be someone's wife. It's like witchcraft or some kind of sexual abuse. But it was like Jacob did not have an excuse. Jay did not have an excuse for what he did. It was like, how? The way it was explained to me, when he made that deal in that agreement with Laban, that he can have sex with more than one girl and have more, girls. He can have Rachel and Leah and a bunch of handmaidens working for him. It sounds like sex slavery because, sex work, because he would want to have sex with them. Jacob actually agreed with Laban. I did not. So, when they would talk about the children of Abraham and in those stories, they was like, that's what Jesus was trying to explain to them. Or at least that's what they called the dude in the Bible, some guy named Jesus. That if you can love the children of Abraham, if you can love Jacob and Rachel and Leah and Abraham and Isaac and all of those people, the people that told the lies about Jacob's wife when they said that it was Rachel and it was Leah, and when their mom told Leah how to steal someone else's husband. If you say that you love the children of Abraham, then you should really love me. Because since I never told another guy to pretend to be me, I never told another guy to have sex with my wife. I never ran a train on any girls. I never practiced any of those practices. It was all child abuse, marriage fraud, and sex crimes and sex offenses when people did stuff like that to me. because I did not like it. And I do not like it, you know. And the way it was explained to me when I read the Bible, it was like those were stories about what not to do. You know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery. It was about what not to do. So they were not supposed to be saying that both of the sisters was the same person. The sister was not supposed to be having sex with her sister's husband and pretending to be her. And Jacob was not supposed to agree with Laban, you know, their mom and their dad, in exchange for other handmaidens and other girls to have sex with. So I was told not to do what Jacob did because, you know, whatever their religion was, you know, they said everybody had a chance, you know, to listen to God. You know, if God said that he would save Abraham's family, the same way Abraham's family made a deal with Laban, you know, the same way Abraham's family, you know, Jacob agreed with the mom and the dad of Rachel and Leah, Jacob could have agreed with God and said, no, this is wrong. Everyone does not have to do what Jacob did, you know. Jacob could have said, I don't want Rachel and I don't want Leah, because since Rachel did not tell that Leah was pretending to be her, and since Leah did not tell that she was not really Rachel, and since they love their mom and they love their dad so much, you know, those situations when a husband feels like he is not loved, those situations where they did not tell the husband the truth. So if their mom knowed what was going on, and if their dad knowed what was going on, and if both of the sisters know what was going on, you know, it sounds like an incest way of thinking when they say they love their family more than they love their own husband. You know, that way. It's the way it was explained to me, you know. So, you know, some people said it seems like I was done wrong because being married, you know, I was never the type that would use a family as an excuse to spend the night at someone else's house, in someone else's bed, in separate places. Whether I said it was my sister or my mom or my dad, whether I said it was my job or the hospital or something like that. I never used those excuses, you know, to have full-blown sex with other people, finishing the job, making children or babies and stuff like that. Stuff that I heard other people did, you know. And it's crazy because they was like, okay, when a girl comes, you know, from the hospital with a baby and it's not your baby, I was never the type that came from a hospital with a baby that was not my baby and told a girl, this is your child. I have paperwork and I have a court case and it's your baby, wife. I never did that to a girl. I never did that to a woman or a lady or a person at all. So it was some people that say it's wrong when females, ladies, and girls and women do that. Because in order to come home from a hospital with a baby and tell someone it's your child, and was something about karma. It was like, did he do that to you? So I would use myself as an example because I don't want to blame anyone or bear false witness for stuff that I did not see or, So since, I went to the hospital a lot, and it was a reason for it. It was like, well, why did you go to the hospital all those times, Brandon's? And it was like, for evidence and for proof. As a mental health patient, I told them I was abused. And as a mental health patient, I told them what happened. There was never a time when I came home from the hospital from having sex with other people or different people with a baby and told someone else it's your baby, stuff like that. So, they said, it was girls that tried to say that someone was the baby's dad or the father of a child that was not theirs. And since they went to the hospital when they had those babies, if a girl came home from the hospital with a baby that was not the husband's, and she told him it's her baby, I was told it's wrong and it's bad karma for her to do that. Because unless she can prove that I came home from the hospital as the husband with a baby that was not hers and told her it was her baby, the punishment has to match the crime, and it's not the same as what I did, using myself as an example. Because since I went to the hospital a whole lot, there was never a time when I came home from the hospital and was like, hey, I went to the hospital and I'm pregnant and it's your baby and here you go. That type of situation. And I never participated in those Rachel and Leah type setups to where, I never said, hey, brother, hey, homie, hey, friend, hey, frat, whatever they call it. I never told another person to have sex with my wife. I never told another person to get my wife pregnant with a baby. Because there's a link in the description and it explains I don't believe in that raising up seed to brothers type stuff, I never agreed to be a stepdad or any of that stuff like that because, they said that was some guy named Judah and God is not Judah and Judah is not God. So just because a person that called themselves that they called Judah wanted someone to have sex and someone got mad, I don't understand it because it never said anything about God in that story. It never said God told Judah to do it. It never said God got mad. It was not about God at all from what I read, When they said that something about Onan, Onan, I think, and Judah, I don't know if I'm saying the words right. It's like, I couldn't seem to find the part where it was about God or love, any of that. It seemed like they were just focused on seeds and semen and being a sperm donor or something like that for another man, for calling them a brother. I think that that's another one of those stories about, people doing stuff the wrong way and listening to the wrong voice and being under the wrong influence. Because if it's not God that they were communicating with, then I just don't understand. So, when I was at their house at 2715 Avenue E, Ansley, it was like, all I got to do is just think about the girls, Brandy. Did any of them tell you that they were abused or molested or complain about their hyena? The only people that told you anything when you were at that house about being molested or abused was a girl, that said that her name was April. And a girl, that they said her name was Candace, None of the other girls said that they were abused or molested, They were bragging on the grown men and calling them sexy and saying that they was getting that money. So, that stuff with them stealing the money and trying to have the children and stuff like that. It looked like it was that other girl that looked it like my wife, but she's not my wife. I think she's been using the debit card and the IDs and stuff like that and trying to get the children. I don't know what she's been trying to do. I don't know if she's been trying to get them in trouble or use them for money or what she's been doing. I don't really know when she stepped in or out the picture or where my wife and children are. But, it's crazy because, my wife, it was explained a long time ago, to her, when I said I only wanted one child. And that since I already know what it's like living in the projects and in the ghetto, I did not want to go to Section 8 or hood housing or the projects, what they call it, government housing and stuff like that. So, some people said, that other girl tried to use your wife's identity and she tried to get on Section 8 and she tried to go to the projects and she tried to get in hood housing. And that's why you don't have your green card or your debit card and all of that stuff because, they was mad at your wife and they was mad at that girl Candace for telling on them for the stuff that they did, because you never saw any car accident that any of them was in. It sounded like it was some kind of scam, And so, I just wanted to say that, because according to the marriage license of April 30th, and it has the name April on there, someone pretended to be April Williams. And it sounds like that Rachel and Leah type of stuff. And since I'm not Jacob, I said no. I don't want the handmaidens. I don't want the scam. Laban or whoever it is not my dad, And whoever their mom or whoever their dad is in those games they were playing, I say no. I don't want to be like Jacob. And I am not a threat to myself, and I am not a threat to others, and I am not suicidal. That way. I don't care how many handmaidens they have. I don't care how rich they are. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how many bodies they got or how many images they got, It's about karma, dharma, and character. It's the way I was taught, When you can say that you have murderers and killers and sex offenders in your family, those types of situations, and it was not self-defense what they did, and they were not the victims. When I went to their house at 2715 Avenue E. Hensley, they all had a chance to tell the truth. When that girl Stacy was pregnant and at the age of 14 in the 9th grade, she could have said, Brandon, help me. They telling us to have sex with grown people and telling us that they can get us a house and get us money and that they could be famous. They said they could be like Nivea and like Ashanti and stuff like that and switch bodies and be a star for a day. They deal in witchcraft, Brandon, stuff like that. They did not tell me any of that. It was a guy that said, they did it and they did it and they said it was cool. And they called me a fool for not doing it. They said I could have had a lot of money, They said they wanted me to do what Robert or R. Kelly or those Robert people was doing, They wanted me to have sex with underage children and boys and girls, stuff like that. And that they could get me a record deal and a contract and a house and stuff. I'm like, that's crazy. I had my own music and my own record label, you know, and my own productions before I even went to 2715 Avenue E. Hensley. Why would I need them to give me something that I already have? You know, my own music, my own videos, my own label. It's crazy. I was never interested in a partnership. You know, I never even got on a boat. I never had any interest in ships or boats or partners. You know, it's crazy because, you know, being married, it was about having a girl friend. Because if you can't be lovers unless you're friends first, and since I like girls, and this is Women's Month about the ladies and the females and the girls, well, I found the girl that I like. 2715 Avenue E. Hensley was the address that, you know, was given to me at the time. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be Rachel. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be Leah. I'm not sure if it was a doppelganger or twin or what it was, you know. But someone tried to take her place. Someone tried to steal her position. And someone tried to be her, but they don't have her character. Because she would never go to a Section 8 housing project, any of those types of situations. She would never leave me by myself all of this time. She would never care more about the family or the children than me, you know, being married to her. Because according to our religion and our God, first comes love, you know, God, believing in God. And then you would have to be friends, you know. And I was told, you know, a girl said she likes me as a friend. So that means I can be married, you know. It's how I got married. Because a girl told me that she believes in God. She likes me as a friend. And, you know, they would say it's baby steps, you know. It was steps to it. You would have to believe in God. Because how could you like me unless you believe in God the way that I believe in God? So since she would like the way that I believe in God, and she would like me as a friend, you know, because in order to be a girlfriend and a boyfriend, you know, someone would have to like someone as a friend first. And then, you know, I was asked, you know, about marriage. And somewhere between then and April 30th of 2004, I got a marriage license certificate and stuff like that, you know. So, you know, the way it was explained to me. And I don't really know or understand what those other people did, you know, because it was like the children always tell on the parents. And it was like, what that means is that when a child is born and has a birth certificate, the child's birthday, you know, and that's why I would like tell them that they probably shouldn't have been celebrating those birthdays so much. Because, you know, whether you're a witness for Jehovah or a witness against Jehovah, and, you know, how they would say bad stuff was associated with birthdays. Because when they look at the birth certificate of those children, it was like, hey, Charlisa Williams was not married when her child was born, you know, the firstborn. Something about those firstborns. And when they say Jeremy Williams was not married when, you know, the firstborn, Aisha Hawthorne, Aisha was not married when the firstborn was born, you know. Stuff like that, you know. You know, the firstborn of Michael and Patricia is what they call themselves, you know, is what I was told. It was like they were not married when Tory Jackson was born, you know. Something about those birthdays, you know, being the worst days or something like that. Because without the marriage license, it proves the allegations that they were practicing a different religion. And it was like, I never saw a marriage license for Linda Williams, the person that they said was the mom. And, they said some guy named Romus Simpson claimed to be the father or the dad of their family. But, they said that it didn't really make sense. Because if he had a baby with Linda Williams and he had a baby with Glenda Williams, and they said that he had a whole nother family, before then, that, he didn't have marriage licenses for all of those people, and he just wanted to have sex with two sisters. And it was all about sex and getting money and houses and stuff like that. And, I was told that, some of the children and the family members said he's not worth their soul. Just for him to have sex with two sisters and say he got a house and a car, it's not worth their soul. It doesn't matter how many children, they say that's why they had all them children. Because, they would tell you that you can have sex with the children if you, agreed with them. And I said, no. They said those children. I'm like, I don't want to have sex with Janiyah. I don't want to have sex with Jeremiah. Those names. I don't want to have sex with those children, that they had, It's crazy, My wife is my wife, And maybe I'm not Adam. Maybe I'm not mannish. And I'm not manly like mannish. Because I was told being mannish is being bad, Because, if man and being mannish was the right way, then why would God have sent something else into the world? It's because being mannish was not good enough. Being manly was not good enough. It was not about being a real man. Because, if it was about being a real man and being mannish and being manly, why would God have sent something else in? We know when he said God sent his son into the world. So, according to the Bible, it's not about condemning the world. Because being married, I'm not supposed to even use condoms. It's not a condemnation. A condemnation. It's what I was talking about, It's crazy, And so, just like August 9th, Women's Day, and, Women's Month, this month, for all of the women, for all of the ladies, and all of, the people, it would be the women's job the same way, whether they say they were your mom or your sister or your cousin or even your own child. If you know that a person was practicing hyena practices, saying that that grown man was Stacey's boyfriend, saying that you supposed to go with Marcus, they was talking about Marcus Williams and calling him daddy and stuff like that. Those girls, they was talking about going with Lamar and Marvin and stuff like that. Whoever they was, They was talking about some grown dude with an earring in his nose, some male stripper named Pete was their crush, And I'm like, I don't understand, those situations. If they did not tell on their hyenas, then, they said then the girls were hyenas themselves. Because you're either telling on the hyena and saying that you do not like it and you do not want to do it, and actually living that way and staying away from them and having no contact with the hyenas, whether they say they were males or females, whatever they identified themselves as, if they were physically teaching children how to have sex, breaking girls' hymen, busting girls' cherry, you know, doing boy inseminations, giving children sexually transmitted diseases, getting, you know, children pregnant with sick babies, dead fetuses, and, you know, stuff like that, you're either one of them or you're a person that's telling on them and proving that you did not want to be part of those situations. It's the way it was explained to me. So when I left the state of Alabama and came to Georgia, you know, sometime around about the year of 2014, they said, you know, all of these years later, it's evidence that Brandon is not part of those hyena practices, you know. Because when they offered him record deals and music and videos and stuff like that, Brandon says no. When their family said you can have sex with the other girls and the other children and, you know, they got a new baddie now, or she got bare boobs now. Look how thick she is. Look how sexy she is. She know how to do it now. She's in love with you, Brandon. She can't stop thinking about you. When Brandon said no. And it was like, so the other guys would have to explain why they said and did what they did with those girls, with those boys, with those people. You know, because just like when it was Roman Simpson and he was supposed to be someone's husband, how does he explain having sex and children with Linda Williams and Glenda Williams if he was supposed to be someone's husband? What is his excuse? And when the children said he was their dad and it was their family, what is their excuse for not saying that he was wrong for being a hyena? Because when a Brandon went to 2715 Avenue E. Ensley, when a girl they said name was Candace said Rodriguez and Nuke tried to make them, you know, do sex stuff with them. And when a girl they said her name was April said that Jeremy molested her, you know, and did stuff to her, Brandon did not go and fight the family and try to claim that two Williams girls, you know, Linda Williams and Glenda Williams, the way it was with Roman Simpson, whatever that guy name was. Brandon did not say he was saving April Williams and he was saving Candace Williams. Brandon did not go and move both of them in or go and live in their apartments and have sex and children with them. Brandon did not use God in the church as an excuse for having sex as a married person, you know, already having a wife. Because they said Roman Simpson, whatever his name was, already had a wife. And used God in the church as an excuse, saying that he was helping Linda and helping Glenda get a house in a car, in a family. And all he was doing was having sex with two sisters while having a wife. And, you know, in order for a child to be born, you know, they said Shanae Williams, Nene is what they call her. She looked just like him. Angel Williams, Angel Renee Robinson. She looked just like him. All you got to do is look at her teeth and look at her gums. It looked the same way, you know, as Aaron's and Romy's, that way. Some about those gums and those teeth and that bone structure and those dental records, right? All you gotta do is look at the medical records and look at their faces. You know, that way. So no matter how much a person claimed that they was in love with someone, no matter how much passion a person said they has for someone, no matter how much love a person said that they has, Brandon didn't use that excuse when it was Candace saying, help me, Brandon. Rodriguez and Nuke was molesting me. You know? Because since none of those girls were the youngest in the family, because, you know, in those families, when I went to 2715 Avenue E. Ensley, the youngest person in their family was not a girl, you know? So since those girls cannot possibly understand what it feels like being the youngest person in a family being molested. You know, I always tried to be nice to them, and I did not want to add to their problems. I never pulled my penis out or tried to stick my thing inside of a Candace or a Lisa or a Netta or whatever they call themselves, or any of them, you know, because if they were already practicing hyena stuff and, you know, saying that they were abused and molested, not all of them, some of them. Only Candace said she was abused and molested when I was there. And only the girl that said her name was April said she was abused and molested. The other people bragged on it and called me ugly and said that, you know, bad stuff about me. And it's evidence of it because, you know, that court date that they had in the year of 2003, right before Jeremy went to jail for being a murderer, a convicted murderer of Lawrence Jones with some guy named Marvin. And see, that's another one of the reasons why I said, you know, I didn't like Marvin's room, or I didn't want to go have sex with Marvin or those people. And one of the girls there, you know, it was like she wanted to go on dates with a dude that they called Marvin and Lamar. She loved Marvin. She loved Lamar, something like that. I don't really know what she had going on, but when I was told that those guys were murderers, you know, and they would hang with teenage girls that were not 18, of course. Everyone knows that, you know, the people that saw my marriage certificate, my marriage license, it has a date of April 30th, 2004, and according to the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986. I was always the type that, you know, when the law said that a girl can get married at the age of 18, I don't know why anyone would be mad at me, you know, on the date of April 30th was the date. I don't know why anyone was mad at me on the date of April 30th, 2004. And when that's the date on the marriage license, April 30th, 2004, and it said, you know, according to the birth certificate, the girl was supposed to be 18 that day. I don't know why anyone would be mean to me or yell at me or accuse me of being wrong or being bad because I'm the type of guy that if a girl was 18 years old and I wanted to get married to her, and it's legal to marry a girl when she's 18 years old, I don't understand what the problem is with my family, my marriage, and the way that, you know, I believe in God, you know, because it wasn't two girls on the marriage license, you know. It wasn't more than one girl's name on the marriage license. So since I was not, you know, getting a marriage license for more than one girl, I don't understand why anyone would get mad at me, whether it was on April 30th, 2004, or whether it was before or after April 30th, 2004, for the fact that a 18-year-old girl, you know, I wanted to get married. Because, you know, some people did not meet me until after I got married and stuff like that. So I don't know why they would be mad at the age of my wife, you know, age appropriate. You know, it's crazy. So, you know, I believe in God. I don't know what those other people believe in, you know. And since I was not trying to have sex with them anyway, it doesn't matter if a boy liked it another boy or a girl liked it another girl, because since I'm not trying to have sex with a boy that likes another boy, I don't understand it. And since I'm not trying to have sex with a girl that likes having sex with other girls, I don't understand it, you know. So I made that real clear. Since I'm not trying to have sex with a guy that has sex with other guys, and I'm not trying to have sex with a girl that has sex with other girls, I don't understand what they do. So, you know, I am married. I don't know where my wife is. I don't know where my children are. And someone disrespected my marriage, and someone disrespected me. I love you all. Believe me, I do. I love my wife. I love my children. And, if you have any questions, ask my wife and ask my children.